This exploit is the most insane exploit to level your Athena's fortune in Season 11, and it gets you over 100 Athena's items per hour. Before we get started, I just want to say a massive thank you to you guys for helping me hit my last sub goal. Now I'm trying to reach 2,500 subscribers, so if you aren't subscribed and you would like to help me get there, that would mean a lot to me. Before we get started, I want to say I was extremely close to finding one of these exploits on my own, but I couldn't quite make it, and I'd actually given up on it until I saw this comment. So thank you to this commenter for helping me get across the finish line and to find this exploit for Athena's fortune. This exploit is very simple, and in my opinion, it's even best to do solo or duo, so you can use it with a small little crew. This exploit uses the fort resetting mechanic already used in other exploits, but it is just specific for Athena's. First, you must put up Athena's emissary to make the most profit out of this. Next, you're going to want to dive for a sea fort raid voyage. I've personally only got it to work at 2 sea forts, but those are the only 2 that I've tried, and I've heard that it doesn't work at all of them. So if you can't get this to work at the sea fort you're on, try to dive again for a different fort. Once you're at a fort, do not fight off the phantoms. Now you can kill a few waves if you want, but there's really no reason to yet. Locate the storeroom key hidden somewhere in the fortress, in one of these little boxes or shelves or something like that. Once you do find it, head to the top level and unlock the fortress storeroom. Then use the chest to take both Athena's items from the storeroom and go down to your boat with them. You can either put these in a stacking spot, or you can go ahead and just put them on your boat, harpoon them on. After this, you need to die in some way. I find the phantoms to be most helpful in doing so. And no, for this exploit, you cannot shoot yourself out of a cannon, you have to actually die. And I will explain why later. After you die, head back up to the storeroom at the top of the fortress, and the Athena's loot should be back. Like I said, if it doesn't work, change forts, and yes, you do have to dive for this to work, you can't just sail there. If the pieces do respawn, you're good, you can keep doing this, you can grab them with the chest again. And I understand that this does not seem like a lot of loot. You get 1 chest and 2 measly items, but you can do this in about 30 seconds to a minute to get each chest after the last. And I solo, just chill trying to do this, trying to test this out, was able to get 111 pieces in a C4 in under an hour, which is insane. So, like I said, I know this doesn't seem insane, but the small loot items will add up extremely quickly. But wait, there's still plenty of things to cover, and make sure this goes over smoothly for you. And you gotta see the stats to know how good this method is and to see if it's worth doing for yourself. First, try and destroy or displace any gunpowder barrels on the fort. Now, this will help you for quite a few reasons. You won't die prematurely from the phantoms shooting them, so you won't miss out on a run because you didn't make it up to the fort before they destroyed them. You won't accidentally kill phantoms with them, thus progressing the fort, and if you do that too many times, you could stop the exploit and have to restart, so just get rid of them for that reason. And the most important one, and this one's very weird, but I've had it happen a few times actually, is that if you die after or at the same time as the fortress captain, you will lose your actual raid loot and it will turn back into normal loot. This has to do with a different respawning method, but it doesn't matter. You will lose your raid loot if you die on the same time as that fortress cap. So don't let him kill himself and yourself with one of those kegs. Just get rid of those kegs beforehand. You also want to make sure there are no reapers on the map. If there is, you should probably hop servers if you don't feel confident in your ability to deal with them, but even if you do feel confident in your ability to deal with them, they're still going to take up quite a bit of your time that you could be using to get Athena's loot. You're going to need to be able to sit at this fort for a while. And also just generally keep your eye on the horizon for other ships incoming, as you don't want to get too locked into the fort and have someone roll up right behind you and steal all your nice Athena's loot that you've been earning. If you're wondering why you can't shoot yourself out of a cannon to reset the island, for this exploit, it is because the range is simply too large. When you shoot yourself out of a cannon, you still get the fortress music, and that's because normally the fortress is supposed to shoot at you from really far. So shooting out of a cannon just simply isn't far enough to reset for this specific exploit. If you follow my advice, don't do this with more than 2 people. Even having 2 people kind of slowed us down a little bit, because you both have to die, and either way, it only takes 1 solo trip to grab the loot. The only way I could see you making this faster is if 1 person was on the ferry, 1 person did the method, and as that person died, the person left the ferry, that way thus getting rid of the respawn time. But even that's not going to help you very much, so don't do this with more than that. Try to take fall damage on your way back down with the chest, and so that way the phantoms will kill you faster when you need them to. Also, maybe let them damage you a little bit on the way up, just to speed that up as much as possible. Other than that, all you need is a bit of patience, as this is kind of a tedious method, but it's very chill and easy, especially for a solo player. This is a quick demo of me doing this solo, so that you can see what it looks like when you actually attempt it and what you actually get out of it. And then I will head on to the stats of what I got for my journey. First, I put up the Athena's emissary flag and I dove for the sea fort. Once there, I worked to find the storm key, and in searching through all the drawers, all the other places it could be, I found it. I did kill a few waves of phantoms. If you do this, just don't kill too many. I don't know what I was thinking here, but I did kill a few of them, in case you're wondering. And also make sure to get out, destroy, or any precariously placed gunpowder barrels that may be in your way later. I unlocked the storeroom, grabbed my loot, and made a harpoon spot. I did end up moving this though because it just wasn't the most efficient way I could do it, so I moved my boat. After I got into the groove of things, I spent a little under an hour doing this, making sure to take damage on my way up, take damage on my way down, to speed up the death process, and just do it as efficiently as I could find possible for a solo. And finally, after an hour of doing this, running up and down the stairs, dying multiple times, it was time to finally finish the fort, load it on. And also at this point, one of my friends I was in a call with actually joined me to help me sell. Why would he turn down a free Athena's loot, and why would I turn down a person to help me sell? And he helped me set up the screenshot, so thank you, Nathan, for helping me do that. Also, do not forget to grab your actual raid loot from doing the fort after you're done with this, as that contributes to your total count and your total reputation quite substantially. After loading up and making our screenshot, we actually counted all the items. We had 52 treasure chests from this, which means we had 111 items in total from the fort, including all of the items from the raid treasury and all the items I had stacked. Total time I actually spent was about an hour at the fort. Plus, selling and setup time, and obviously, like I said, we made a screenshot, which is not necessary, but it is fun if you have the time and are comfortable with the ships around you. In total, we made 1 hour spent. We made about 5 levels on average. Now Nathan's a little bit closer to what I'm going to call the average level of probably most players in Athena's right now. I think a little bit higher, but I'm not 100% sure. I could be a little bit lower. I'm at 50. Nathan's at about 35. So we're going to call it a 5 level average for an hour. And total gold, we got, I think, around 100k. Maybe not even that. This is not a good method for gold. I'm not saying it is a good method for gold. It's terrible for it. This is just for Athena's reputation. And if you're wondering why only 5 levels, why would you do this for only 5 levels? Well, Athena's is supposed to be harder to level, and I'll explain why in just a second, but you just understand that Athena's is not going to level quite like the rest of the trading companies, because that's just not how it's meant to work. Now, as far as potential, this is pretty close to max potential, especially for a solo. Now, an insane duo crew could probably do as much as 1.5 times what I got, so maybe about 8 levels, but this is pretty close to what you could do solo. Max I could see you getting in an hour is 200 items, maybe 175, but that would be like very focused and time efficient people, which I am not. I was just kind of hanging out doing this as efficiently as I could as a solo. Now, like I said, this may not seem nearly as crazy or insane as the other exploits, but like I said, you gotta remember, Athena's is supposed to be the end game, and it's simply just supposed to take longer to level up overall. I know that's not perfect, but until I find another one, until I find a better Athena's exploit, that's the answer. Do this, you can get 5 levels per hour on average, which is, like I said, pretty crazy for Athena's. It's nothing like the other levels, but the other levels aren't supposed to be like Athena's. The other trading companies aren't supposed to be like Athena's. Athena's is supposed to be harder. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm trying to reach 2,500 subscribers, and if you could help me get there, it would mean a ton to me. Also, keep an eye out for another exploit video coming tomorrow, even more broken than this one. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.